It's that time of year again, the time when food enthusiasts from across the country attempt to get an exclusive reservation at the Lost Kitchen. The Lost Kitchen is not only well known for its food and television show, but the unique way diners make their reservations. Instead of going online or calling, the restaurant potential diners send postcards to the small town of Freedom. On the postcard, you're asked to leave your name, address, phone number, and email. The restaurant asks people not to send their postcards in an envelope or send multiple postcards. Their website notes duplicate postcards will be disqualified. Cards are then pulled at random in the month of April. If you're selected from the pile of postcards, the Lost Kitchen will call you and help you find a reservation. Those who aren't selected during April may still get an opportunity later in the season or if someone cancels.